What's up, y'all? How's it going? All right. So it's good to be here. Good to be here once again with y'all. Let's all right. Yeah, let's have some fun. You know, let's get into these charts. Let's see what's good. How y'all doing today? Let's take a look. Let's take a gander over here. What's up, chat? We live. Morning, everyone. Sup. Got Michael, Zoe, Joe, Seth, 97 Mobile. Marlen, buenos días. Feeling good, man. Feeling great. Nice little walk today with the Doge. What's up, Corey, Gabriel, Patrick? You're not going to be live tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. We leave for Utah, and I may or may not stream, so we'll see. What's up? Happy Thursday. 6J cell. I didn't catch a 6J cell. I didn't have an alert go off. Maybe I didn't have the setup here. Trading out of here, I'm assuming. The yen master over here. Ah, yes. Nice. That was a good sell. Got a nice little pump here. Okay, I see it. I see you. What's up? Buenos días, Nancy. Saludos. I see some nice oil sells beginning New York session, end of London. Yeah, I'll go check that out too. Yup. All right, cool. Okay, so there's a couple things I want to dive into. I have, our eyes are on this peso idea that we talked about earlier in the week. So this one, we'll come back and chop it up about this idea over here. So we have that here, setting up potentially. We have some oil action going on. We're sub 70K on Bitcoin. Where is oil? Oil over here. Right? We're working our way down to the zone. So that buy area that we were talking about earlier in the week, we're getting closer and closer. So definitely some potential there. And you talked about possible shorts, right? And so we saw a great sweep of liquidity over here. The market then squeezes. It kind of looks like maybe you could have had some sort of shakeout setup here or something. Maybe not. We fill the imbalance, so okay, targets that. And then, we've kind of just been chopping up in this range. London takes out just a little bit above this Tokyo high before working its way down again. So we see a move right over here. You said beginning of New York session, end of London session. So are you looking for, because I could see the sell out of this zone, or it trades a little higher into this area over here. So I kind of can see either or. But we'll come back to this. I'm just kind of giving you guys a heads up of what could be on the radar today. I had a gold shakeout that I wanted yesterday. It didn't tag me in by just the smallest of margins, and then went and would have hit my TP for like a 3 something. So that just missed for me, sadly. But with that being said, we'll go and review metals here in a bit. Silver just starting to get below Tokyo lows. And then obviously indices. So let's go take a look at indices and see what we have in store today. Awesome. I see London session. Some of you caught London session today. I know Michael and James are hosting it. And shout out to James for his payout. I love to see everyone winning. It's just the best feeling in the world. And everyone is winning in one way or another. It's really up to perception. But, specifically those of you that are getting to, building that discipline, you're just mastering the craft. You're starting to get funded more often. You're getting paid out. And if you're not getting paid out yet, it's something that you're consciously working and developing, right? So, anyways, with Dow has a very, very clear push to the upside here with this London, how it drives during London. So we see a nice rally. This takes out to the high from Tokyo session and trades near some of this distribution from New York session. So yesterday, the market really struggled to stay above these highs. So it's been a struggle for price to really keep trading above 49,670. Like every time it tries, it just keeps losing that momentum. And now, as you look at this structure-wise, you're seeing these lows here. So we're kind of starting to really trade below. So this short looks promising right now. It looks promising. As you compare, though, price action slightly on the higher time frame, we can see that we have Dow Jones trading in a higher range compared to S&P and NASDAQ. S&P and NASDAQ here has just constantly been making lower highs and lower highs. However, yesterday things kind of slowed down, I'd say. So yesterday we started to see NASDAQ, work its way down. So all of this was yesterday after New York session. So pretty good drop. Whereas Dow also did a nice drop. However, the recovery was much more intense. So you can see how it pulled back basically right away during yesterday's session. And NASDAQ and S&P didn't really have the same type of movement. And as you can see, and NASDAQ is already below New York session low, yesterday's New York session low. So we're still seeing a lot more bearish movement with NQ, at least in the bigger picture, right? As we zoom out, we're seeing NQ has successfully worked its way down towards this order block here from November, like around that week. So we can continue. I mean, we'll probably see this continue to work its way down to this November 21st level. So that's a very big difference. If you're looking at this from a higher time frame, I mean, if we're looking at comparing the lows from November, you can see NASDAQ tech stocks here. They're at below a 71% pullback. And if you take a look at Dow Jones, well, Dow, if we're comparing this from November, I mean, we're nowhere near this. Like, nowhere even remotely close to any of that. I'm talking about, like, we're in different planets right now. So, yeah, it's not the same, right? So which is interesting because right now it's just basically my understanding of this is, tech outside of a lot of other tech is just struggling. So are we, considering how long we've been squeezing for over here, are we going to see a dramatic Dow sell-off sometime in the near future? Because it's a pretty significant difference. And not to say like, my thinking is that we're going to have in some sort of massive, like there's going to be a day soon where Dow starts to really, really, really melt, while NQ and S&P or NQ specifically is maybe not as aggressive. So I think we're going to see something similar, something like that soon. And considering all the squeezing we've had the last 2 days, I won't be surprised if today or tomorrow we start to kind of see Dow with more like we start to see a shift in direction where you start seeing Dow kind of push more aggressively soon and make those moves to the downside. So I'm open to shorts, and I'm going to be paying attention to price action on the day. So if today we start to notice Dow is actually more bearish than and for the most time, and by the time we end up working our way back down to here, it makes the most sense to short this, because you have now the London high was created here around 2.5 hours ago. So let's see how we work our way back, because this move right here, right, this happens at 6:05 Central. This was 2 hours, 20 minutes, 23 minutes ago. That same move is right here with NASDAQ. So, is NASDAQ, and NASDAQ traded really efficiently over here, but it's the same zone, like that same pump upwards happens right here with NQ. So are we going to see, are we going to see NASDAQ rip with New York open here in less than 2 minutes? And does it just fly up a lot faster? And is Dow going to be slower? That would be what I would want to see, what I would need to see in order to sell Dow Jones instead of NASDAQ. And because Dow just sweeps a lot more liquidity than NQ does over here. I don't know, man. Would that be called an SMT? I don't know ICT, bro. So, yeah, I don't know. He's not my Lord and Savior. So I have no idea. I think so, though, from what I've heard and from what I've seen I think one person bring up in here, I believe when what I call like divergence between assets, that I believe is SMT. So like, for example, actually, I honestly couldn't tell you because I don't know for sure, but one of the ways I approach the market is, let's say you have basically the same setup between NQ and Dow, like the same one. Then I would approach, and then we have, let's say, Dow working its way up, NQ working its way up. So basically same setup. But if NASDAQ gets into the selling zone at the point of interest first, then I would wait for Dow, since it's slow, showing that it's slower to work its way in. So the chances of it breaking the high are lower. Because sometimes you have similar setups. Same thing goes with major pairs or between gold and silver, things like that. Yeah. So I'm not sure, honestly. But it's divergence for sure. That's what I'm waiting for. So with New York open, we're seeing Dow push lower. We're seeing NQ kind of just same thing. I mean, it's pushing lower. I think we're seeing a bit more momentum from Dow, but at the end of the day, yeah, there you go. The thing is melting away. So on the other side of this, is there an option for another, let's say like a buy or something somewhere here, right? Now you had a very clean sweep. I swear I had a zone here before, but I guess maybe not. Maybe that got deleted. Whatever. We're in the ranges, so you guys can clearly see there are levels where, like for example, here with Dow, you see a clean push down. So you had the market over here, right, creating some liquidity, bottoming out, so some sideways movement, clears a low, then rips. So could you see a reversal out of this range? And actually, depending on how we work our way down there, it's possible. And the same thing goes here. So I don't know why this disappeared, but we had some support rolling out over here. So you can see some levels where retail could want to buy from. You get another leg down. So you get this move here, right? And then it really tries to break above, but struggles. So we're in this range, and the market does bounce out of here pretty well. Now, these types of setups where you do see a liquidity capture, but when the market then struggles to create any sort of shift in direction, so like for example, although yes, we sweep, we capture, you see the money get liquidated here, but you just don't see a confirmation that the market is now trending upwards. If anything, it's just trading back up towards the high of the range. But as you can see, every time it tries to even get close, it loses that momentum. So we can tell that there's a lack of buying demand up here. So yeah, with that being said, that's why I'm not in love with buys still, because we're just struggling to maintain those highs. So at the moment, yeah, indices are just like, working their way down. We did make a quick drop. It looks like we're going to see some sort of reversal out of here. That's like, those are the initial signs we're starting to get. These are getting real choppy. Up and down and up and down. NQ taking out London lows over here. So we had a lot of sideways movement, some liquidity, clean sweep. So if we start to, let's say, maybe break above this high, we could start to see a shift in momentum overall with NASDAQ, possibility. So we wait it out. Yeah, we'll wait it out. I didn't love that we fight making higher highs. Why so I didn't take it. Cool. I'm not looking for a sell here on NQ. I haven't said I'm gonna take a sell anywhere, honestly. This is just the zone in which it, like, I was just saying this is the same area where it would. The 3 minute, would this be liquidity? Let's see. You're saying because of this here? Like it chops up here for like, it makes like kind of like equal highs for a couple minutes over here. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. I mean, that's sure. You could argue that. Over here, kind of it's trending as well. So either way, like NQ is starting to rip up here, and Dow is definitely at a slower pace. So it looks like NQ would get here first. I'm not looking to sell for now, but I don't think this is the worst. Like, let's say this was a setup. Let's say NASDAQ would get to this zone and Dow would already be trading, relative like to it higher. So let's say we had both, right? So let me just do, I haven't done the screen share in a sec like this. Give me a sec. So let's say we have this, right? If Dow got here first and then, NQ got here later, would I still want to take this? Honestly, I don't really see too much of an issue with it. Nothing up here is equal highs, really. Like, everything looks pretty efficient. So, I wouldn't be against it. But it looks like Dow is going to be a better sell. It looks like it's going to approach this later. Look at the 3-5 minute. Not really. I don't really see the equal highs. Everything, it's pretty close. So if it is too close for you, then yeah, I guess it would be like not even qualified whatsoever, for sure. So now let's see if we get something here. Now it's looking way better for possible buys here. And with NQ, so let's look at this, where we're at now here. Looks like Dow's not too far from taking out these New York lows. See that from yesterday? So it got pretty close. NQ here took out those lows. So we see that liquidity kick in. We'll even go to the second time frame here. So you see the market start to sell off. This is right on what, New York Open? Yep. So this is where the volume kicks in. You see it work its way down. The market trades up, loses momentum, trades right into this order block here before ripping some more. So it trades out of here. So we see this rejection right there. All right, so it clears that. Now we're seeing higher highs. Market might still maybe even want to work its way lower here. Now you're seeing it break the 1 minute high. At this point, if let's say NASDAQ is going to create an opportunity for a buy scenario, then we would want to see the market print a little bit like this. Maintain this high here. And then work its way down. And then you could probably find a setup in there. And take this somewhere higher. Something like this is possible. It's a matter of waiting. And what's nice, what continues to I'd say prove our short for Dow is that NQ is trading well above this, right? This is trading back to price action from over here, from right around here, where Dow is well below. So like relative, just so you guys can see, like this is trading here, 630. So from 2 hours ago, that same price action with Dow is nowhere near it. Look at the difference here. This is still trending downwards versus NQ is back over in this range. So you can tell that there's a lot more sellers suppressing price down for Dow. Well, NQ this is holding up really steady. Really, really steady over here. So let's give it some time. I wouldn't, especially since Dow is more bearish. Yeah. So I'm not looking for it. I'm just saying, like, had the situation been different, it could have been still valid. Nah, I wouldn't buy Dow. I'm just not, like, that's just my trading, I don't buy the one. I don't buy the bear between the bunch. Took a buy on S&P. Now S&P is a different story, right? S&P is kind of somewhere in between Nasdaq and Dow. So here you had the super liquidity. Here it broke above, failed the high, but then came into the imbalance. So from here you saw the continuation. Yeah, very similar setup to NQ, except that this kind of provided a deeper retracement, probably a better risk reward. So yeah, hopefully this runs. And then as a target, I mean, going at least for some of this imbalance fill looks like a great opportunity. The only downside sometimes with trading S&P is that it sometimes doesn't hold structure because it's playing off of one or the other, what YM or NQ. So that's kind of the issue. Like it sometimes gets away with it, sometimes it doesn't with structure. So hopefully it's on your side today. Oh, you were talking to Sarah. I see, Michael. Caught the bottom of S from open sweep. So you saw S&P clear the lows. Were you trading something over here? Oh, nice. Okay, sick. I see this one. Yeah, this little pocket right there. Had a nice little play right there. Clean. Very clean. Yeah, hopefully this runs for you guys and this thing just can send it. Or, and maybe unfortunate for y'all, but I mean, would be nice for me. Would be prior for price to come back down to here and then get a nice little play right here. I am open to this. I would not be mad about it. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. Might not be favorable here for me. Let's see. A couple minutes trading above this 1 minute. Jack really snipes. Apparently. Jack snipes FR. Apparently it's for real. Can I check gold? For sure. Yeah. All right, so I have an alert there if it comes back down. If it works its way lower, that would be sweet. If not, I still got this short on Dow. All right, so gold, I mean, gold's just been back and forth here, squeezing. Nothing. I don't really have an entry here. If you guys see something, let me know. But jokes? What kind of jokes do I got? I'm not funny at all. I'm as serious as can be. This is profession here. There's money being moved. There's no time for jokes here. All right. Think this is a game? Huh? Silver, on the other hand, not playing. Just takes out Tokyo lows and is ripping here. So silver looking nice. This is all choppy, noisy, liquidity. I don't love this at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if we break below here with gold. Maybe it rides for longer. Perhaps. Because the drops on gold are pretty minimal. Like just how when silver took out the low there, see it clears the Tokyo lows. But gold, on the other hand, the drop was pretty minimal. And obviously it takes off as well. Very, very nice movement. I wonder how we work our way back. So that's what I'm more curious about is whenever there is a retracement, is gold going to be pulling back more aggressively, or is it going to be silver? But I do like a potential setup here. I do like seeing something here with silver. I think you could probably see a nice sell-off. This all happens right off the open too. So get a nice move over here. Right into this area. This is where you've seen already a lot of support. So depends on how much room you need for this play. But might be a little much. You have like that 15-second sell, so even narrowing it down to here, still need about 93 points. Unless you use your stop, you tighten it up. So it's going to be a personal preference at that point. But now we are starting to see a shift here in direction. I'll have an alert if we start to work our way down. Hopefully that alert doesn't go off for a while. All right, so NQ starting to stall out, but we've seen a nice 10-minute hold above previous highs. The longer the better there for that buy scenario. S&P here, you know, as usual, somewhere between Dow and NQ. Lots of liquidity building up right now. Tons of retail sellers joining the party here with S&P. So that's a good target, and you have an imbalance. So for those of you that caught the trade here or here, so whether you took your entry here or in the inversion here, then you have, this is really the sweet spot, if not higher. I mean, if not London highs as well. So big moves. Possible gold sells on the 5-minute, Carter, on gold. Is that right? You know, it's interesting. I feel like we're not getting too much demand below like 40. Like every time we try to get below 48.40, we kind of just come right back in. But I wonder if we get one more spike down before it runs. The 5-minute, so I don't know if you're referencing this specifically. Like this push right here. Let me take that. Let me delete this. Are you talking about your CFD chart? Yeah. So I won't really keep that in mind. I see more of liquidity up here with gold than sells. Like yes, there was a pump, but let me look at gold specifically. Like not the micro, but let me look at the mini chart. The mini chart. It's a close one. I get it because this takes out this this squeezing. So London here takes out the Tokyo highs. but it trades real close to this. So it kind of just looks like it's forming more liquidity. So I'm curious to see if that's really worth it, considering that there's a bit more imbalance. I don't love the idea, but I do understand it. Like, I understand. I see both sides, right? I see how gold pumps into here to drop, but that high that it creates does form more incentive for price to go even beyond this. And then when it works its way down, we're not really getting too much proof that the market wants to continue to work its way down. So, not my favorite. I wouldn't pursue it. Yeah. So, not something I'm going to pursue. However, I wish you the best. Y'all be gatekeeping. All right, hold on. All right, so S&P sweeps and then drops right back in. Dow's chilling. Big chilling. Yeah. So, anyways, not looking to. I'm not going to take a trade here. I'm going to delete this to avoid confusion. Now, looking at. I'm going to go back to one chart here. I don't think seeing both at the same time is really necessary right now. All right, so right now we're seeing this back and forth. So interesting, very interesting here. I just want to make sure, yeah, you guys can hear me. So this looks like it's kind of starting to lose momentum, right? Signs of small time frame distribution. Especially after S&P swept those highs. I wonder if this works its way down. I have this alert when NASDAQ if Dow clears New York lows. With Dow clearing New York lows, if that kind of positions this trade here, then I'm down. I'm down to take the buy. Low here on NQ is 24,652. Okay. Solid. Okay, so this is working its way down. While that's doing its thing, let's take a quick check-in with oil here. Oil, not really doing too much yet. Pretty sideways. We have news here in 5 minutes with the dollar, so that'll be fun. Get the news, get the people going. We'll have. Let's see, what about the peso? So let me get this trade set up actually. Dollar might kick this peso setup in here, so I do want to get that going. And then NQ as well looks pretty on point here. I like the structure on the 1 minute, so because we end up trading above it for a good 15 minutes. That's good for me. So I'm going to take a position here on NQ where we've seen support in the past. Maybe it could go even lower, but I like where we're at here. This looks pretty solid. S&P, NQ, relatively similar in the way it's moving down. And then you have Dow working its way lower. Thank you. Nan's coming in clutch with some cafecito. All right, so I'm going to be ready for this one. Get the limit going here. What is one more unit look like? 519. I'm cool with that. So have that for dollar news setting up. Seems like it's got potential. And then we have peso here. Peso will set this bad boy up. And then for targets here. Good targets. I don't know if we're going to get all this so quick. I don't know if it would bounce that aggressively, but, you know, it's worth a shot. I don't think I can trade peso on this firm. So this might have to be a TopStep only. Let me do a quick check here. Anyone trade Lucid or Tradefy and has traded peso? Let me know. I just don't remember. I haven't traded peso in a minute. Let's see. All right. Maybe the AI knows. How are you guys feeling about this idea? Good? Maybe not so good. I know if you zoom out and you're looking at this, you're like, yo, this 15-minute looking crazy. Right? The hourly candle, it's a giant wick now. So, ooh, spooky. Okay, so it looks like not on Tradefy, not on Lucid, not on TopOne, but yes with TopStep. Word. All right, so I'll have the alert set. I'm going to have to manually execute that. And for those of you that use a trade copier, or specifically if you're using Trade Syncer, with Trade Syncer, you have to turn off like the connection if you're going to independently take a trade. So if you're going to go and take, like, let's say you're only going to take it with like one firm or a couple accounts, you have to turn it off. Otherwise, like you'll try to take the trade and then it'll just close it. So just so you guys are, you know, in the know. All right, NQ in the zone. I feel like we can wick a little bit further down. I feel like we can get down below this here. Break this little low. Here's where people have stops. So I think we'd break right below that before getting triggered in here. If this doesn't play out, I'm very much okay with the loss. Part of me is like, maybe it doesn't, because S&P came up and swept and then dropped. So we have Dow bearish, we have S&P which took the high and just drops, and then we have everything else. So let's see. I broke below, but it didn't trigger us in. I wonder if this thing's gonna go from here. Gold, a bit bullish here. I just happen to have it's open over here. Okay. All right, so we're triggered in here. What's S&P doing and what's NQ doing, or Dow doing? Dow looking for those New York lows. How we could have waited then, maybe. All right, so we're triggered in. 3 micros across the board with all the accounts. So it's hanging in there. Let's see how this goes. It might be, we could have had a better entry if we would have just waited for Dow to take out New York lows. Then we would have had a better entry for sure. So if it would have been more on a market execution perspective, yeah, this would have looked a little bit better. I would have still just been waiting. So I wasn't sure how quickly I wanted to maneuver this. So it's holding up a bit on NQ. Meanwhile, Dow not quite there yet. All right, playing at it. Let's see if this holds this order block. Dow specifically just broke below New York lows, while we have NQ still within the range. So now that we broke below this right here, which was kind of that pullback right after New York Open, that would have been a very nice trade, right in this little imbalance. Would have been very nice. There's a shot. There's a shot with this one, especially considering Dow has cleared its yesterday's New York lows. So let's see. So we are at least having divergence. That is an extra confirmation. So if this wants to just eat up these, like, now the intention could be that it wants to clear New York lows and then give the reversal. If that's the case, then NQ does have a shot of staying within the structure and then rallying from here. And actually, let's see here. NQ. Okay. All right. Okay. So we're starting to work our way back in. That's usually good. Dow definitely, after sweeping New York low, starting to work its way up. Okay, not bad. We got a shot. Got a shot, folks. So for example, had I just waited for New York low to get swept, then that would have been slightly better entry. Look at the difference that makes. You know what sucks is, look at how now Dow wants to hold this better. It's not really dropping as much. It's like holding the line really well. And then now NQ's like, actually, I want to be more bearish now. So now we got a price action flip between Dow and NQ, at least for the moment. All right. Meanwhile, silver alert just went off. So let's see what's going on over there. What's silver doing? Is that to the upside or to the downside? To the downside. Okay. Gold and silver. Gold dropping a bit more aggressively. Silver did break this low, work its way up, but honestly, the 1 minute time frame is still bearish. I think it's, if I could have a half hour trade here, then I would be more open to it, because we do see silver take out these lows over here, work its way up, but we don't break anything. We don't get a ton of bullish, signs of bullishness yet. We do get this shift in momentum on, I guess you could say, the 1 minute here. But it's really not the best. So I guess I think If I could trade with less, then I would, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. S&P now took out the lows, so there is hope for NQ. This, now we've seen breaks beneath New York Open, but I don't know. I don't really think this trade, like, it is what it is, right? It's we've already let go, right? We've already let go of the trade, so now it's, whatever happens, happens. But the fact that S&P took the low, Dow took the lows, and this is still diverging, like we still have this, typically that's a good sign. At least it's better odds. Not guaranteed, but better odds. During these times when you're in drawdown, now here's what I'm curious about, because there's a couple of you on here with me today. How many of you already got out? You got out early. You're like, oh, it's already this close, like I'm just probably gonna get stopped out. Let me just save myself a couple bucks. So who got out early? You're like, oh no, because that says something about where you're at with your trading, your system, your ability to take a loss, your trust in why you put your stop loss where you put your stop loss. So that just shows you part of that. So that's, if you're not allowing your trade to just do what it needs to do, like you're getting in the way of it. Even if it does lose and you did save yourself something, you're still getting in the way of your system. So it shows like you will break your own rules. That's what that's showing. So I'm just bringing this up so you're aware. Or who saw it go into drawdown, you already risked what you were supposed to, but you're like, oh, well, now it's at a deeper entry. Let me just get in again, let's just get another one in here. It's got to go up. So I just want to put up a mirror so you can kind of see what may or may not be influencing your decision making, and just help you kind of understand that there are certain triggers that you may have as a trader, which is getting in the way of your success. And we don't know if this trade is going to play out. Right now, the odds are not in our favor, but it still could. I've seen these trades. I've seen trades like this where it's a couple points away from getting stopped out, and then it runs and hits take profit. Like, I've been in this trade before. Now, that wasn't the case today. Obviously, we can see here the L was taken, but I've seen it happen plenty of times. So the big thing here, we saw the market trade above for 16 minutes with this structure. You could argue maybe that when the market came back into here, this was the mitigation. But I think that the one clue, which I mentioned maybe, when was this, 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago? The initial clue was this one. Was that when S&P didn't do a higher high, so we had two different assets not break the high. Only NQ broke the high and traded up here. So I swear, if this thing runs like this, that's gonna be some shit right there. But only, so S&P wasn't as bullish. So if two assets of the three are failing to make higher highs, could that be a sign? So I'm going to be backtesting that, because I have noticed this before, and it's like, oh, this theory. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that could be helpful in circumstances like this. But I honestly had forgotten. And so as of now, it's just a theory. So, for example, Dow obviously was just bearish, making lower lows. S&P tried to get above and make a higher high here, but it failed. So actually, right, this is a sweep and then a move. So in reality, this looks more like a shorting opportunity. And then NQ did get above However, just wasn't enough, right? The intention looks like it was to clear the highs, rebalance, and then just work its way lower. So, anyways, -1 -1 R on the day. Let me look at the chat. Let me see if anything I was saying was the siren's going off. It was like, guys, it's a wrap. Do I have a code for funded next? No, I don't. I've never used them yet. They're next on my list though. So I have, and I'm working on this prop firm tiers list, and it looks, honestly, it's fun. I'm enjoying building this thing out, but, yeah, I don't have anything there. I have Tradefy, Lucid Trading, obviously TopStep, TopOne, my funded futures, and then I don't have Apex. I kind of stepped away from Apex, and then the ones that are next in line right now are funded next is Alpha Futures. Where's this other one? Alpha Futures. I don't think you guys can see this. And then Take Profit Trader. There's one more that is on my radar. I forgot what it's called. It's got a weird name. Starts with like a P or a PH or something. Yeah, I have to look it up. But it's called Pundia or something like that. I don't know. That's a weird name. Someone that a trader friend is using them. He's liking them. They're a little bit newer though, so it's not like you don't really need to use a lot of experimental firms or anything, you know. So there's like as of right now, with firms that are doing really well, paying out pretty well, you have like, I think you could get about 25 accounts or so. And that's not including Apex, which is just like a hit or miss. It's just like a roll of the dice, I guess. So you're pretty good, you know. You're looking at like 3, 4, 5 mil in funding. Saturn's going off. It's just a sign, you know. Happy with my trading today. Didn't move my stop after I reduced risk. I love it. Didn't like the price action on the 1 hour. Awesome. Glad you stuck to your guns. Yeah, it has been super bearish. So I can get it. I don't get codes for stuff I don't use. You know, I could just be like, here, use code Mongo for funded next. Trusted source. But yeah, I've never used them. Tradefy will let. Really? All right, then I guess I just have got fed the wrong info. Purdia, that's the one. Yeah. Purdia. That's the one I haven't used yet, but is on my radar as well. Yes. 5 positions running? That's not good. What's running right now? Hopefully this is wrong. Hold up. Wait, hold on, guys. Let me check something real quick. It says I have 5 trades running. Where? What do I have running? Not here. One sec, guys. I think this thing is wildin'. Five gold trades running. Where? Must be a bug. Well, all right. Anyways, all right. So to get back on track here, right? Let's do a little review. So what are we seeing? On the bright side, we are getting this reaction out of this lower time frame zone that we had with Dow over here. Of course, it's like 5 seconds after I look at it. So we're getting a little bounce right here. I initially had an entry right in this zone for Dow buys. Obviously, we're getting a very bearish movement across the board. So we're seeing NASDAQ trade towards that November price action over here. So, getting into reversal areas just overall. I think we're still in an area with the markets where buys with Dow make more sense since Dow we're just significantly higher in structure. But as you guys can see, this is giving us distribution. So I think the probabilities of the market playing out of here are not the best. Can we get a bounce? For sure. But ultimately, I think we're going to work our way down to this lower zone anyways. So looking for a position over here, it is apparent that the market does as it was working its way down on Tuesday, it's kind of building up support. You get the final push down before the continuation. So getting a reversal out of this zone makes sense. Honestly, I would imagine it go below this though, like trade into this imbalance. And if you're going to look for a bounce out of here, so just manage your stops tight, and I wouldn't be super aggressive with the target. So even just trading, let's say like into the New York low, into this imbalance, like something just this, like this, I think is a good idea in case, because the market doesn't have to travel all the way to here yet. It doesn't have to work its way all the way up, just like and sell out of here now. This might happen way later on. It could just leave this zone behind for a long time. That's totally possible. So if you do look for buys, yes, you have some imbalances to play out of. The New York close is a strong level. Maybe trading into that news volume. So I think this would be an easy target. Obviously, you make back your loss and you get another win in the books. Another R above that. So I think that's not a terrible idea. And then it'll help to see what price action looks like right now. So is Dow still the most bearish, or are we starting to see, a reversal out of something else? So looking at, for example, S&P or NQ, like this is okay. So check this out. Look at how S&P just broke below this low. This is a very significant level. All right, this is the low from January 21st. It breaks below it, now it comes right back in. So this is showing potential signs of a shakeout with whether it's S&P, similar, or it might be with NQ, right? NQ takes out the lows from over here and then comes right back in. So if we start to see, let's say, signs that this break below, or we break below here, this major level, if we start to see that the market wants to stay more bullish, kind of stay within this range, then the buy can make sense with indices, at least short term. But I wouldn't look, at least I personally, I would rather lock in 2R than try to go for the big move, but that's me. That's just personal preference. So yeah, that's where we're at. And then as of now, we still haven't quite, with that dollar news, let's see. I don't think we got towards that peso idea that we wanted to see. Yeah, we're not quite down there yet. So keep your eyes out on peso if you're going to trade it. I'll take a swing at this. I'm with it. Let me look at price action between. So look at this. NQ not as bearish, Dow not as bearish, S&P and then S&P not as bearish, but then now Dow in this zone. So this would have, if had I had a limit, it would have missed me anyways by like a hair. This is just how it's going right now. So the fact that we're still seeing Dow with a bit more bearish of a price action compared to NQ, compared to S&P, just shows that taking Dow buys are a little bit riskier, only because it can break your support, it can break your levels a little more often. It's just slightly more vulnerable. Like these may not stay as much as you want them to. Like they can break below and then run, you know? So setups like these, just kind of not the strongest. But yeah. So anyways, with that being said, guys, we'll wrap up there. -1R on this session. It's been a bloody day for a lot of the market. So let's see. Yeah, a lot of the market getting gutted. Master. All right. So, yeah, guys, I mean, at this point, again, you don't have to be in the market. You don't have to stay stuck on here. If there's the setup isn't quite there for you, then it's not there, you know? So let the setup come to you, okay? Don't force it. This looks like there's always going to be plenty of opportunities. If it makes sense for you, if this trade makes sense for you, then take it. If it doesn't, then hold off, right? It does look like Dow is starting to kind of want to hold structure a bit better here versus S&P and NQ kind of working their way further down. So your call. But yeah, guys, as always, appreciate y'all hopping on. We have plenty of extra resources for y'all to take advantage of in the classroom. A lot of new videos coming out soon. So take care. Peace out, y'all.